5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have...
Hello, my fellow nerds and xenomorphs. Welcome to Sci-Fi Sunday, where we talk about the most iconic and amazing science fiction from around the universe. And today we have a very special episode. We're talking about one of my favorite movies of all time, if you can't tell from the patch. It's Predator. Predator was directed by John McTiernan and stars the one, the only Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jesse Ventura and a couple other guys in the crazy and probably one of the first science fiction horror thrillers out there in the 80s. Got right here, the Blu-ray. Such a great movie. I also got the little action figure. The Predator himself, pretty legit. All his dreads and shit. So Predator, when it came out, it mixed those elements of, like I said earlier, of horror, suspense, thriller, action, science fiction, everything into one. And John McTiernan does an amazing job of taking all of those genres and really just making a beautiful piece of art. So we get the awesome score, we get the crazy, goofy action from the 80s, the super ultra crazy crew, male badass figures in this fucking movie that just come and destroy everything. The plot is super simple, but I think it works in their favor more or less because it adds to the suspense. And there's really one objective to the viewer is actually seeing the alien. And we talked about that in Super 8 when they kind of showed the alien like halfway through and you lose all elements of the suspense, right? So in Predator, when they build it up and you don't actually see the alien until the very last couple scenes, it's a great job of using that suspense and those thrills to build up that plot or build up those, the edge of your seat suspense you get from watching Predator versus Super 8 when you see it right off the bat and you're just like, all right, it's over. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. It's an amazing movie. Came out forever ago. It's a classic science fiction movie. One of the best. Definitely, probably my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie of all time. And definitely one of the best science fiction movies of all time. So, the plot, we get these guys that got taken out in Guatemala. And there's a couple politicians there. So they send in this group of badasses. Green Berets. And then we get Carl Weathers in here. And he's a CIA guy. And we get the most crazy handshake. And they're both flexing like crazy and just so much testosterone in this movie. So much testosterone. Just the build-up of testosterone is insane. Arnold's at his peak, and this was right when he started acting more mainstream, and he barely spoke English, so the director definitely talked about that a couple times, and they said they gave him really simplistic, basic lines, you just got stick around, and the classic get to the chopper, and all this other stuff where they kept down to the one-liners, which worked in their favor too for this classic, action movie experience you get out of the Predator. So, and he kept it pretty much one-liners for the entire crew, which was really good. Mixing in action and plot elements, and then them actually seeing, glimpses of the Predator throughout the movie, and just really hints at that, So I don't give away the full creature, but you see the little glint from his suit or, because he's invisible, he's cloaked the entire time pretty much. And sometimes they hit him once and then you see his blood and it's that super neon green blood. There's cool elements like that really added to the story and the backstory of the Predator, which we don't really get. So it's all ambiguous and you have that hole, that hole in the plot where you're what is happening? Where did this thing come from? What's it doing? What's its purpose? And you really don't get that until really about the very end where you just realize he's just there to hunt, He's proving himself, he's there to hunt, the humans and take out as many as he can without being seen or noticed or hurt, or maimed, whatever. So it's really just a sport for him. Which is another awesome element of this storyline and this plot. Having that alien come down from a different planet, and hunt us for sport, which is really, really cool. Only a couple movies have really done that well, in my opinion. So we get that. You get the classic Mac. I think he says Mac like 30 times. Mac's the other gentleman with him, taking people out, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is screaming across the jungle, "Mac, Mac!" It's great. It's great. Just a classy, goofy, Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it makes up for it with all the action sequences and the miniguns and like all the explosions and James McTiernan, or I keep saying James, John McTiernan. John McTiernan, goddamn. Terrible, don't listen to me. But he does a really good job of using explosives to help build the suspense and the thrills, whereas other people, like, the Michael Bays or, certain other directors just have everything explode. Every car, drives into a building, fucking explodes, or, something tips on its side and explodes. And John McTiernan uses that, that ability when they're actually attacking with explosives, things explode, how it's supposed to be. So there's that really cool scene, I think it's almost halfway into the movie, and they're going after these guys, these mercenaries in Guatemala, and they're blowing up their village and taking people out, and it's really, really cool. And you also get the famous stick around line from Arnold where he throws the knife at the guy and he hits the wall. The knife somehow makes him fly on the wall, which, it's the 80s, right? They also have Hueys in this, the old ass helicopters from Vietnam, which I've also flown on, really cool ones. But I have those in the beginning where they're playing the classic music, and Jesse Ventura has like the biggest dip known to man. It's probably like that big, and his entire lip is out. And he says the classic, this stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. Like, it's just like, it's so over the top. This entire movie is just over the top, but it's great. It's fantastic. And it works to its advantage, in that action style and genre. So, the fight scenes are pretty cool, pretty slower, but it's also just a lot of shooting, so it's a lot of cloak and dagger type action because the predator is cloaked, visible jumping from tree to tree, so they set up all these traps across the bottom of the trees and the ground and whatnot, all these tripwires, but he's moving from tree to tree, jumping, staying at a high vantage point, so they're unable to really tag him or anything. They do get him once with a giant log trap towards the end, which was pretty cool. He gets all bloodied and stuff. And another thing, the guy that plays Predator is actual dude. It's not CGI. There's like very, very minimal CGI. It's super early stage CGI because it's the end of the 80s, so we get that little, the laser shots and stuff like that are some elements of CGI, but it's really, really based on cosmetics, and the Predator looks is all just makeup and cosmetics, so it's pretty cool. It was an actual dude as well, and he dwarfs Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's crazy. This guy's like 6'10", I believe, Kevin Peter Hall, and he stands up here, and Arnold's like down here, and Arnold was huge. So yeah, it's pretty nuts how big that guy was. John McTiernan also directed Die Hard, which is another amazing movie. He just got that whole niche and that genre of 80s action and early 90s action. He really, really capitalized on. He did a very, very good job in what he did. Final thoughts of Predator. It's really, really fun action. I love what Arnold did with the character. I love, Carl Weathers did a really good job. All the cast and crew. Jesse Ventura super over the top too, super rednecky, which is pretty awesome. All the action sequences are really good. Storyline is pretty basic, but overall, awesome flick. Predator looks awesome. His style, his armor, all this jazz, like the fact that he had, this old tribal jungle look, but he had futuristic weaponry was also really cool touch. How they mix the two, and then when he takes off his mask and you see his actual face, also really cool at the end. I'm gonna give Predator a perfect 10 out of 10. Awesome movie. I love the entire franchise. I'll probably do another couple reviews from Predator, AVP. I'm going to keep doing an Alien one since I haven't done an Alien video yet. So my very first Sci-Fi Sunday was Alien, but I want to do Aliens. I'm going to bring that in the fold. Aliens is another one that I love. Terminator's another one that will be coming out soon. I want to get all those guys out of the way on my perfect 10s, so, and my 9s or 8s, whatever. But that's all I got for Predator. In the comments, let me know what you think. We got promotions. The Degenerate Ziac and his Unruly Adventures is completely funded, and the stretch goal is also met. So the first stretch goal is out. Anyone that claims our pledges over $10 will get their own personal print from Ziac, #1, and also the book. So if you want in on that, click the link below and go into Kickstarter, claim your issue, get a fresh issue out around August. Hopefully it's August. Due to COVID, there might be some delay on delivery, so I hope to get all the issues out September at least. We'll see how that goes, but I will keep you updated and posted on when we get them out and when they get here to me, because it's a whole process. Getting a bunch of issues made and then sending them out, distribution, all that jazz. I'm sure you guys are aware, are familiar with the process. It's pretty crazy. But we got that. We also got the Sci-Fi Sunday podcast. So if you do think of anything to put on the podcast or request a movie, let us know. You can also message us on Facebook. Go like the page on Facebook. Give us suggestions and movies you want, comics you want. I'll also be doing some comic reviews here shortly because I've been neglecting to do that. So I want to do a top 10 list and a couple other things. So if you have suggestions on comics or books or anything of that nature, TV shows, whatnot. I also want to do Space Force, so I gotta finish it up. I got a couple episodes left, and then I'll be doing a Space Force review for this first season, which is a very, very funny show. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And we got charity, so the Fisher House Foundation.
At Fisher House Foundation, we put bricks together. We build homes away from home, close to military and VA medical centers, so free lodging and care are close together. But more importantly, we bring families together so they can recover, heal, and ultimately put their lives back together. Imagine what more we can do together.
Fisher House Foundation is doing a great amount of work across the United States, donating to veterans and helping them out with shelter and in their time of need, widows and wounded vets and all that nature from coast to coast. So go check out Fisher House Foundation and donate. Make a difference in somebody's life. Well, that's all I got. Click down below to get cryogenically frozen.